Okay. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic, the premier business radio program around. I'm your host, Mike King. I appreciate you being here with us. This is part of the Mike King Biz Radio Network, which is ESPN Richmond 106.1 every day from 5 to 7. The Choice 105.3 every day from 2 to 3, as well as International Business Growth Radio, Saturdays at 10 a.m. in the East. We did like LeBron, we took our talents on the road, and what we do is we showcase RVA on a worldwide platform. We're coming to you from the Hilton. This is my home Wednesdays, so if you ever need any hotel space, event space, make sure you check out the good folks down at the Hilton. They treat us right down here, so it is the place. They will look out for you. It is the premier event space. All righty, so we're here with a friend of the family. Danielle Gilbert is back. She is my HR expert. And so we've done this in multiple locations, all over the place.
We have.
We're back. Okay, KO just walked in. So what we do is we're down here at the Hilton. And so me and you started way back down at the Children's Business Fair.
It was, yeah.
Yes.
That was 5 years ago.
2016 or 17, in that range.
Yeah.
All right. So I always say Danielle Gilbert is my HR expert. And what she does is she breaks it down. And all the things that she wanted to do in the past has come true. She said she wanted to be an international speaker. I said, on the mic with Mike, we are here. She wanted to be an international speaker. And what we're going to do, we're going to take a break for a moment. We'll be right back. You know, we can kill that. Yeah. We gotta go. All right,
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
Don't worry about it.
It must be like something this week.
All right, on the mic back, Danielle Gilbert. If you want to be an international speaker, I looked up Danielle Gilbert is in Dubai. Not Detroit. not Detroit. Not Dubuque.
But it was actually Tokyo first. Remember?
Yeah, you did go to Tokyo.
Yeah.
Did you take the kids to Tokyo?
Absolutely not. We didn't do that, right?
You exposed your kids to the world.
Yes.
So we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Okay, so normally, it's Mike, Danielle. She's been here talking HR, life, and everything in between. She let me know that I'm a protected class to a certain point as a citizen.
Okay.
But I'm not protected to that level. I don't get anything more when I turn 62.
No.
I don't get no more.
Not at all. You just protect because you're over the age of 40 and you're a black male. Let's be clear.
That's a big difference between 40 and 60.
It is, but I didn't make the law. Obviously, you're married to make sure you're in compliance.
I feel like Superman at 40.
So what do you feel like at 60?
Broke down. Wonder why my kids say the story. All right, oh Mike can get up Gilbert this year. And she wanted to be an author, and she's been an author multiple times. She is on the bestsellers list, and she didn't roll solo to it. All right, so I start off Danielle Gilbert. Welcome to the program.
With all of that, you got me all tripped up. It is a pleasure to be back in your presence. Can I say that first?
I'd be remiss if I stopped. Go ahead. We got pastor and the first lady now, so we're gonna stop it on position.
Yes, we're gonna behave today.
We are gonna behave, all right. So you did really quickly 30-second elevator pitch of your Gilbert Enterprises. That's what comes down.
Yeah, so I am the serial entrepreneur of the Gilbert Group LLC. That includes Eminent Creative Arts, which is the business of my 10-year-old twins, Gilbert's Transportation, Creative Designs by Danielle. But what's most important is that I am the creator, owner, chief HR officer of Manifesting You, where I simply help small to medium-sized companies minimize their risk, save money, and avoid lawsuits.
And we talked about some topics that touch on for business. We talked about marijuana usage in the past, because that was, everybody out here blazing. But you're talking about, it may cause you some problems.
It might, but it might also help you because you did hit the age 60. I'm just saying. But we might gotta edit that part out.
You know me for a long time. You know there's no editing.
It's no editing.
Are shady at best. Are shady at best. Alrighty, so we're here because you have a book and you have some phenomenal women. You brought somebody with you today, the first lady.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So here today wanted to share with the listeners that decided on April of this year to really create a platform. Many of us know someone who's suffering from mental health, right? Some type of mental illness, and has probably prevented them from moving forward in life, and getting up. And so they said 1 out of 10 individuals have some type of mental illness that you may need. 1 out of 10. So with that being said, part of this journey and what Mike is referencing regarding the book is that April of this year, I decided to create a platform for 8 dynamic women to share their story about how they have unvoiced pain. And the unvoiced pain is releasing depression and anxiety. So, high level about my story, Mike, you and I talked about this, that I used to be in corporate America. I was in corporate America for over 20 years as an HR professional in different capacities, different companies, and leaving that particular role as a director, I lost what I would call my self-identity. And that's because I wanted so bad, and I was so focused on how do I ensure that I keep up with the titles, the accolades, and that led to a depression for the very first year. And so no one ever knew that I was suffering from depression, but one of my co-authors that is here with me, AJ Saunders, who's actually my executive coach during the process of me being in corporate America. So when I created and said I wanted to connect to those who truly know me and the people who follow me, I said I needed to be vulnerable and needed to be able to connect to those who listen, follow, and say that I inspired them. So what happened out of all of this process of being 5 years full-time entrepreneurship as an HR professional, I created a collaboration book with 8 dynamic women who are in the story, just in the book, sharing their story about how they have released the unvoiced pain of depression and anxiety.
One of the things we always talk about is you had a dream. How do you make that dream come true? And then how do you find the dynamic women who make up the book, including the lady who's sitting here?
Absolutely. So, you know, to me, we talk about it, Mike, right? It's the power of manifestation.
So that is that, yes.
Right? So when you ask me, how do I do what I do and why I do what I do? Yes, it's because of my family, my twins, husband, but it's also because of the fact that I know who I serve. And my God is mighty. And because I know my God is mighty, I have the power to know that you have to walk in faith. Yes. And so in order for me to remove what was on the other side of the door, and those were blessings, I had to become vulnerable. And so with that, I just put it out, social media posts. I'm doing a collaboration book. Who wants to be interested in the 8 women that you see in this book and read their stories were the ones who God brought to me.
Okay. All righty, ma'am. You are the first lady. You're inspirational. Tell us who you are. First of all, I am going to behave, but I'm going to put some respect on it right here. I just want to say where you're from.
I am Philly in the house with Brother Mike.
That's what I'm talking about. Philadelphia is in the house. Come with the inspirational story. That's what we do.
Yeah.
That is what we do. We, you know, people hustle, people do it. We just be doing stuff quietly. Just building and stacking.
Yes.
And building and stacking. All righty. So ma'am, you got a story. You got a story. And so tell us who you are and what you do.
So I'm AJ Sanders, and I am Lady AJ by many who know me. I am married to this amazing man, Reverend Dr. Michael A. Sanders. I finally found the love of my life. Didn't find him in Philadelphia, I have to tell you that. However, we are reigning king and queen here in Richmond, serving our Lord and Savior. And like Danielle, I have to give him all the praise and all the glory, because I know that all good things, all wonderful things come through and by Christ.
All right. And so let's talk about the journey. All right. First of all, we got to give a shout out to your church. You know, like you say, I'd be remiss. I always like saying that when the pastor's in the house. I'd be remiss if I didn't say, you got to do the church shout out. We put some, oh, there you go.
Oh, please. So Christian Ministries Beyond Walls CMBW, and we mean beyond walls. We are not a traditional church. We are non-denominational, and we are all about serving and loving our community. So the traditional things that you see in a church don't happen with us much. We really mean come as you are. Folks come in jeans, ready to do their thing. As a matter of fact, we're really excited because this Sunday, we're not doing traditional church service. We're taking our entire church to Washington, D.C., to the African American Museum. And we'll be in the place in our purple and gold CMBW t-shirts.
We didn't, I mean, do we need to jump on the bus? I
have a couple more tickets
Hey,
left.
See, that's what happened when the church is out there doing, hold up a second.
I have a couple tickets left.
See, one of the things we talk about, and so now I'm going down the church road for a second. You know, being from Philly, you know, with the senior choir was always 118 years old,
Yes.
each person, but they were. And the one thing is, but what I did notice was my cousins had a holiness church.
Yes.
And the people were young. And you could come any way that you want. Just
That's
come
right.
here and hear the word. Whereas as opposed to, you know, our church, you had to be suited, casket sharp, you know, you just had to come that way. And if you weren't, you kind of were not accepted.
Not welcome.
But what you're saying is the church without walls.
That's right.
That's
So you can come in your jeans, Mike. You don't have to have a hot.
But let me
suit with
explain
shiny
something.
shoes.
Now, you know, oh, yeah, I know. Them girls started me with them, with my, you know, patent leathers. They didn't
But they're
understand.
welcome to. Those patent leather shoes are welcome as well.
And you know what? I'm so old that the jeans they're gonna have a crease in them.
You take them, you the old school where you put the starch on it and you put the crease in it.
I had to stop using starch because my wife got on me like, yo, stop with the starch. Steph B's in the house. Lisa Trani back from Italy and Europe. All right, okay, so here, let me see the book. So we're here with the book. All right, so let's talk about the others who are on this lineup of folks. Who you got here?
Okay, so you have, let me help because I'm getting a little old like you too.
Oh, no.
So we have Destiny Braxton,
That's okay.
Dr. Chantel Chambliss, Stacy Crawley, Joy Donaldson, Dr. Shonda Harris Muhammad. So Shonda is actually on the Richmond Public School Board.
I know, yes, I've talked to.
And then we have Pastor First Lady AJ Saunders, Dr. Tabitha Schoollock, and Tiffany Winfield. So
Okay.
all of these women, yes, I know them personally in different ways, but like I said, they came to me for a reason, and that was to share their story.
And you have an event coming. When Danielle Gilbert puts on something, it's not just, and your fellow AKA just walked in here,
Yes, Dr. Danny.
Dr. Danny's in the house. And so, you know, all you folks, go ahead and get out the way, the whole room.
The AKA, we're gonna spare you today.
Okay, well, my sister, so shout out to the Deltas, my sister's a Delta, Steph B's a Delta, and Star Mallory is here with us already. So putting the book together, you have an event, and when you have an event, you have an event.
Yes, because we do it with excellence.
Yes, you do.
Absolutely.
You were the chief person talking to me about manifesting dreams.
Absolutely.
More than anybody else, and you talked it into existence.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, so tell us about your event.
So first of all, I am super fired up to just say that the event is sold out.
Yes.
So I'm glad to be here, glad to share this, what we are doing in the community. But this Saturday at U-Turn Sports Performance Academy off of Mayville, we are actually having a conference where you will be able to meet all 8 authors in person at 1 p.m. where they will actually be hitting the stage to share their story. And so it's from 1 to 5. We have DJ, food catered. It is a ticket event, but as I said, this morning, it's sold out. I do have 1 ticket to give away. So
You know what made it? Al Green.
how you gonna put Al on the spot?
Better than me. I thought you was coming at me. I'm like,
But
but I'll be
listen,
there.
but
I'll be there.
Right. So we
I'll
have
be
to
there.
tell the people that you're gonna be in there broadcasting
That's what I
live.
thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I will be. Alrighty. So, First Lady,
Yes.
do you go by First Lady, Pastor? I mean, what?
I go by Lady AJ when I'm behaving, and when I'm not, I'm AJ.
Because she's still normal. She's still a normal person.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. What can I say? I got issues. So
Oh,
I respect people. I call you what you are. All right. So, Lady AJ,
Yes.
what's the basis for your chapter in the book? Let's talk about what that was. When a person start off with, woo,
It's
You're
good.
getting ready to get
But it's
this.
good. When the people put the T on it, it's good.
Okay, here we go.
Well, I will say this, mine is completely and fully transparent. It comes out of the soul. I speak about my experience as a child, age 7, attending my grandmother's funeral, being the only child there and no one explaining or preparing me for the fact that my beautiful grandmother, who always had a beautiful smile on her face, who had that smile on her face in that casket, to me looked like she was in a box. And so the title of my story is Bodies in Boxes. And it,
Can you I think we gotta pick up your face, Mike.
I need a face coat. Let me tell you something, because you know the one part about, and that's the best part about having your own radio show. I can just ask people whatever.
Ask whatever.
Yeah, whatever. Because so my grandmother passed, and you know what, in Philly, everybody go to the same funeral home.
Oh,
The
gosh,
whole for
yes.
years and years.
Forever.
So ours was Baker up on Broad Street.
Yes.
You know the one.
Baker, True,
Yeah.
Slater, yeah.
So there were just a number of them out there. And I remember my grandmother being in there, but Philly, we do it different. You go to the viewing, then you go to the church in the morning, then you go to the cemetery. Well, my wife, when people start passing, they do that whole day action.
I like that better.
I used to be scared of dead people when I was a kid, and my mother said, it ain't the dead ones you got to be worried about. It's the live ones.
And it's the truth. We just didn't know that then.
All right, so can I get back to the bodies in boxes?
Come on, let's go.
Okay, so the bodies in boxes. What did that? Okay, so how do you frame that point so you carry with you through life?
Yes, because what people don't understand is children don't really understand or really know how to manage or deal with death and loss. And we don't do a good job explaining that or preparing them. We take them to funerals, they watch us fall apart, weeping and crying. And to me, she looked like she was in this pretty box. And I wanted her to get up out of that box and give me her typical hug. And so I remember they closed the box and I never saw my grandmother again. So for me, I spent from age 6 until my mother's death when I was 12, she died very young, watching all of my loved ones die, and they were placed in these boxes. And so my little girl's heart was always, I don't like bodies in boxes, but it created an unknown depression around death. We don't recognize depression in children, and we don't deal with it. And it shows up in many forms. Depressed children are bullies. Most people don't realize kids who are bullies aren't bad kids. They're kids that have been traumatized. They're hurting, they're wounded, they're depressed. And that has to come out in some form or another. For others, we become recluses. I became a writer. I wrote everything. I wrote poems and things on napkins and tissues or whatever, since I was a child.
Okay, now one of the things, so on the mic with Mike, we're here at the Hilton. This is Unvoiced Pain, Women's Story. So I always ask people when they wrote things down, whether it's your journal, did you ever go back and read that stuff? Because what happened was, you know what I do? I ask you a question, then I'll be like, your therapy. Danielle understands. So when my mom passed away, I wrote all this stuff down, just getting out because I wouldn't say it to anybody. And then all of a sudden, and I was 37 when my mom passed away. So I was older.
Yes.
I wrote it down and I just wrote it. And I was going to write this big long thing. I wrote like almost a book and I let it go. And then maybe years later, my mom died in 97.
Okay.
Maybe around 2015, I was going through looking. I looked at it, I'm like, oh, Lord, have mercy.
But you could have turned that into a book, because that's exactly
And
what I
still
did.
can.
Right. When my mom passed at the age of 15, I wrote in my journal for 365 days. I took that journal when I left corporate in 2018 and turned it into a book called The Unspoken.
Okay,
Word.
but when you do that, all right, so you do it for a bunch of days in a row. Do you ever go back, not way, way down the road, but say 2 months, do you ever look back and say, well, let me look and see what my thoughts were that day? Or you don't? When you hit it, you just keep going.
It depends,
Sometimes,
right?
yeah.
It depends. But I can tell you, 2015, I kept that into all the journals that I ever wrote in. And you think about when my mom passed, it was in 1998.
That's a lot of journals then, yeah.
And we in 2018 is when I released that book.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it takes time. Do I go back and read everything? Most of the time I don't. But when I do, oh, what powerful insights. about who I was then and what I was experiencing and who I've become. I told you earlier, God has jokes that he made this Philly girl somebody's first lady married to a pastor. You should see the things I wrote about that.
When you look back at it, you just had to say, woo. Okay, but you said you wrote a chapter here, but you said you got a book in you.
Oh, I have several.
You got books in you.
Several.
All righty. For a person who has books in them, what do they need to do? Everybody chases dreams. Everybody talks about this and that. How do you make it happen?
Well, right now, what you do is you hook up with Miss Whitney Brooks.
And she was on when you guys had the Zoom call that I was on with you, right?
Phenomenal.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And she will be there on Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's take a moment though on some serious stuff. If you are in the place where you're ready to release the story, the pain, whatever it may be, Whitney Brooks, Empowering Her Publishing, is the person who actually edited and published and designed, hold it back up, that fire cover. You hear me? I mean, fire. So you ready? I can give you her contact information, but Whitney Brooks is the project manager, editor, publisher that is behind this collaboration book.
And I've been waiting on her for years, because when you attempt to write a book and you want to get it published, it can be overwhelming, daunting, too expensive, all of those things. She is an answer to a prayer.
Yep.
And I'm serious about that. So this isn't just a plug. If you're serious and you're ready to write and you've been waiting, now is the time.
There you go. On the mic and Mike, we bring you the best and the brightest. How can people find you out there?
Well, I'm also my own business owner.
Okay, let's talk about that. How you gonna be here and not talk about the business side of it?
Well, I've owned the company AJ Sanders Trading and Consulting LLC for 20 years. What I do is I serve as an executive coach for leaders, predominantly hospital leaders, mostly middle management all the way up to C-suite. So CEOs, VPs, whatever. And what I do is I help leaders like Danielle work through challenges, identify opportunities, and stay true and whole as to who they are. See, a lot of times when people enter leadership roles, they lose their souls. And I'm proud to say that not Danielle. We had a fascinating journey together, but the whole time I knew that she needed to move beyond corporate America and become her own business person and entrepreneur. So I don't go into companies, I want to make sure everyone hears this, to try to get people to leave the companies they're with. I'm all about helping people learn how to be successful where they are to realize their goals and dreams.
There you go. On the mic, Mike, I tell you, I rock with the best thing. And Team Gilbert, I got to give a shout out to Mr. Gilbert too. Yes. He definitely got me out of a bind. Yes, he did.
Gilbert's Transportation.
They come to you.
He literally, if you, you got to tell the people.
I can't, you know what? Hey, Mr. Gilbert came down on Hull Street and got me rolling.
Yeah.
And then he checked
in
on
the
me.
rain.
It was bad.
It was
bad out there. He was just like, yo, you got to watch what I'm in. I'm like, yo, man, please get up out that street. I can't be talking to your wife about why you was laying down. I'm like, well, why don't you just we can tow it? He's like, no, I got you. And you know what he did? He called when I was on the way. He's like, yo, I was just checking on you.
Yep.
You know, that's
nice.
See, that is
that's
when
service.
You operate in excellence and you provide that 100%. But I tell people what is 150% customer service, because he called on you in the storm to ensure you got home. That's what the Gilbert Group LLC is all about.
That is they manifest greatness.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's really quickly. We're running out of time. Let's talk about the M&M Creative Arts.
Real quick, M&M Creative Arts, Mackenzie and Mariah Gilbert, they are actually headed to 6th grade, but they are owners of their own company. They have their own book. They released their own book.
Yes.
I Am Me, You Are You, about self-identity, back on Read Across America Day, which was in March of this year. Yes. And they also have their own lip gloss line, Double Sassy Lip Gloss, and their own twin line t-shirt company that is actually trademarked, by the way.
I saw that.
Yes.
They're going to do a trademark, and Dr. Daniel will be very happy with that one, you know, trademark intellectual property. Also, Raya was there when we went Batman.
Absolutely. See? So
I took that picture of that look on her face. She wasn't impressed with Batman.
See, She was not impressed. She said it was overwhelming, right? Because she says, I thought I was going to be talking to Mike by myself with that man.
Oh, I
So
love
she
it.
was in her feelings for a quick second, but she did post it on her TikTok.
I made TikTok.
You made TikTok.
See, you're not
I
so
made
old.
TikTok. All right, on the mic, Mike, we gotta go. We gotta make room for the ladies speaking sports. That is Lisa Triney, Steph B, Dr. Danny, Star Mallory, Danielle Fitzhugh, and Carrie Roth. Some of the folks aren't here tonight, but we're gonna roll on. They even got my man David Anderson is in the house. He came in with some, okay, all right, well, all right, with the New York thing. All right, I just said your name. There you go. You don't have to.
It's
See
like
what
a
I'm
party
saying?
in here.
That's
Yeah.
it. You don't have to start up with the New York.
You got backup tonight.
Exactly, thank you. Because normally I'm here rolling solo.
No, not
There you go.
tonight.
On the mic of Mike, ladies. It has been a pleasure. We got to
Thank you,
run.
thank
On the
you.
mic of Mike, Al Green, thank you. We'll be out. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks,
We'll
man.
see you Saturday.